This is an Onomy podcast.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I hope we're all breathing, checking in with ourselves, checking in with our body. How we doing? How we feeling? What's real for us right now? What's coming up for us right now? You know, wherever you're listening to this or watching this or whatever you're doing. I hope you're well, you know? This life is majorly complicated and ever-changing and always moving. And sometimes it feels like it's hard to catch up to, right? Or it feels like we're trying to catch up, but it's just like moving ahead of us. And so I hope in the times where you're with me listening to this pod, there's a space to breathe, reflect, slow down, check in with ourselves. What's up in the world? Congress is trying to ban TikTok? What the fuck? What the fuck? Am I right? Have you seen the bill that they're trying to ban TikTok with? They're like, hey, TikTok is spying on you. So we're going to pass a bill that allows us to spy on you however we want, whenever we want. It's real. It's some real, sinister, shady, weird shit. And it's not like Google and Apple and fucking Facebook haven't been doing this same privacy breach stuff for years. It's not like hasn't been the norm. It's not like the NSA spies on us with like a legalized form of spying on every citizen. Like, why? I don't know. It just seems strange that all of a sudden they care. And it could be good old fashioned, you could call it racism or just like, America spies on China, China spies on America. It could just be like spy paranoia, country competition, good old-fashioned racism. I don't know. It just feels weird and strange the way they're coming after TikTok. When we all know we love it. I resisted it for a long time, that TikTok app, and I can say I spend too many loving hours on that app, laughing and learning and wasting my time. And just like, man, come on, Congress. Did you see the one congressman? He asked, like, does TikTok connect to the Wi-Fi? And the CEO was like, what the fuck are you asking me? Like, yeah, dude, it's an app that uses the internet like every other social media. Does it access the Wi-Fi? Yes, Congressman, just like every other app. Duh. That was a shit show. But seeing the bill, I don't want to get into conspiracies, but seeing the bill they're trying to pass because of this or to enact the TikTok ban, that's actually freaking me out. Like, the actual bill contains so much language that lets the government do all the privacy breaches they are getting upset about. So, I don't know, man. Hold on to your TikTok. What a crazy world. What a crazy world we live in. It feels so messy when I look outside of it, which is why you got to have practices and tools and just time where you come back to yourself, where you come pull it all back in. Let me not look out there at the fucking government or TikTok even. Let me pull it all back in to myself. Let me pull it back into my life. What's important to me? How am I doing? What matters? What am I excited about? What am I grateful for? What am I working towards? These things. Sometimes you gotta simplify. You gotta pull it all back. And that is one of the things I get into this week with this week's guest. How you like that for a segue? This week's guest is a friend of mine, a successful young actor, a beautiful beefcake of a young man. He grew up on television even longer than I did. Spent 11 years growing up before your very eyes, and then got really shredded when he was off the show and no longer a child, and was on the cover of Men's Health, I think, for being a beefcake, which we didn't talk about. This week with him, we talk about growing up on television, the transition into adulthood, finding your truth and who you are, being overly self-aware as a kid, and what it takes to kind of come into yourself as you grow up and decide. We talk about therapy and many things, and I loved getting to chat with him like this because we are friends out there in the world. But something about this podcast, man, even when I bring on people that I've known for years, I don't know. It's so fun and it's so beautiful. I get to have these really wonderful conversations with people that I actually know and love in my life. And the conversations kind of always drop into this different space. And I'm really grateful for it. So this week's guest is Modern Family's Nolan Gould. Handsome young man. Friend of mine. Good dude. Good actor. I'm really excited to see what he gets up to these next few years, because talking to him today, he's really asking, I think, the right questions and is in a really cool place in his life. And I'm glad to know him, and I'm glad to share with you getting to know him a little bit better. Enjoy this week's pod with Nolan Gould. And as always, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share, give us a subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review. We're growing. Growing up's growing. Growing up is growing before our very eyes. I love you. Goodbye. Breaking news. Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, I'm stoked. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shave your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code GROWDEVON for 20% off and free shipping. Look, it's no secret. I've got a beard. I've got a large beard. I've got an overgrown, unruly beard, and I cannot wait to be able to groom it, shape it, love on it with Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The thing about having a beard is you want to show people that you love yourself by shaping it, grooming it, taking care of it. And I cannot wait to no longer have to be an Old West cowboy who doesn't do any of that, because we live in the modern age when we can take care of our beards. Not only does the Pro Kit come with the perfect way to shave and shape, but it also comes with beard shampoo and conditioner, very necessary for this coarse hair, beard oil, which everyone knows is a must for a healthy beard, and beard balm. This gives you the opportunity to shape, style, moisturize, and tame your beard. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. Thank you, Manscaped. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code GROWDEVON at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use code GROWDEVON, GROWDEVON. Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. We'll talk about this after.
Yeah.
Or during.
Yeah.
Nolan Gould.
Hello.
Hello, my friend.
Hey.
Thanks for coming to the pod studio.
I'm doing this as a favor, but I hate you.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, that's not true. It's just a powerful way to start a podcast.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're both on video and audio, so you need to both look good and sound good.
Okay. I'm for those who can't see me, one of my friends recently told me that I dress like a sexy crab fisherman. And so just imagine if you're listening that I look like a sexy crab fisherman, whatever that means to you.
All you need is like a North Mass, like kind of scruffy beard, like kind of like a mess of a beard.
I just had it.
That would have really sold it for me.
Yeah. But thank you for having me. I'm glad to be part of your world.
Yeah, man. Well, see, that's the fun part is you already are part of my world.
Sometimes too much.
That's what's great is through our mutual homie Sean.
Yeah.
Now you are a part of my world. We actually went out this past weekend.
We did. I had a good time.
Yeah, I had a good time. We had to chase the night a little bit.
We were. Yeah. What do you mean by that? That's cool, but I feel like I get it, but
so it happens sometimes where like you want to go out, you want the night to be a night, you want it, you want to turn it up, you want to lose it on the dance floor, want a little too.
The last night was a movie kind of feel.
That where you're going out for that, and LA, you only get till 2 a.m. so there's a limited amount, and shit only starts at 10, so you literally have like a 4-hour window to try and make the movie happen, and we got a little off kilter. Nolan got into one of the bars. Sean and I fucked up the timing. We were in a giant line.
Yeah.
That bar was incredible, but we had to pull Nolan out of paradise.
Literally out of Nirvana. To come hang with you guys.
Right. And then at that point, then we were in the chase the night part of the evening.
I just want to say, like, I am somebody who my entire life has been chasing the night. And I just mean like in my like day-to-day life. And it's like a really hard thing to describe, but I explained it to Sean and Sean kind of like understood where it was like, consuming all of this media that tells you to go out and do grand adventurous things in your life. And because of social media and all these things feels like there's this magical world that you're missing out on. And like, honestly, you're not. It's not that it's not worth going and trying to get the adventure of it, but you're more likely to have fun having a bad night or like chasing that feeling than actually like being like, wow, we were in it. We met new people. We were the life of the parties. It's like, nah, we made it till like midnight and then we had street tacos. And that's like typically where the fun actually comes in.
That's exactly right. So you get it. That's chasing the night is like, there's an idea of, I want this weekend to be this, or I want this party to be this. And man, as soon as you kind of set that expectation on it, or like that desire for it to be some type of way, man, it's really...
Guys, let me just tell you, it's way more fun to be outside of the party talking shit about the party than to be in it. I hope. All I can do is hope, because I've never been in the party. Please just let me in the party.
You've got some years ahead of you. And here's the truth, is it's who you're with.
Yeah.
I could have depending on who I'm with, I could have an incredible night, just like 4 of us at my house, or 4 of us, honestly, the other night. Chasing the night with you and Sean and a few people is still fun because I have fun with you guys.
Yeah.
And kind of anywhere I go with Sean, I'm glad to be.
Same.
Sean and I actually did get to live a movie while shooting our movie in Mexico. Yeah. Like we actually had that thing where it's like, are we actually living the movie? Are we actually being like taken to clubs where DJs are playing and we're like on stage with them? Is this our life right now?
I love that movie, by the way. is this a movie that like you talk about and like pitch? Because I'm in a movie with Sean, this guy that we're talking about, and I don't talk about it because I don't want anybody to watch it.
I didn't know you guys did a movie together.
Yeah, that's how me and Sean met. We met 10 years ago shooting a movie. Genuinely, I don't want to talk about, but I love the movie that you guys.
Well, the movie that we're in, I think 6 people have seen.
Okay,
and they all live in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's called Sundown. It was originally called I Break for Gringos. It's a spring. He's an actor, Sean Marquette. We did a movie. We shot it in Mexico. It's a spring break comedy that nobody saw.
I saw it.
Thanks.
I saw it. I liked it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And so you guys met on a movie.
We met on a movie.
But you won't discuss it.
I won't discuss it.
That's fair.
You can, if you really want to, you can find it on IMDb. But like, there's so many better ways to spend your time hunting down this movie. I promise it's not the holy hidden grail. It's not even worth the memes. Just please let it die.
Okay. I've done a lot of those, so I get it. And then we also got to run into each other last summer in fucking Prague.
Yeah.
How random and seemingly bougie is that? Like, I saw you in Prague, brother.
Yeah, but it was not bougie.
It was not.
It wasn't.
It was just debaucherous.
It's one of like a few nights of my life that are just missing. They're just like I have some videos I still have to send you of you at this multi-leveled club that we were at. But
yeah, randomly, like I hadn't been to Europe in like 10 years, and randomly Nolan and I were in Prague, Czechia at the same time. Praha.
Looking at the clock. That's their big thing. They have a clock.
They got a big, beautiful clock.
Yeah.
A lot of Gothic architecture. It's beautiful. And this like weird 5-story nightclub.
Yeah, with like robot servers.
Yeah, with like a robot bartender.
DJs,
but we were there on a Wednesday. So the 5-story club was really like a 3-story club that was like kind of empty.
It was me, you, our friends, and then like one bachelor party. So we had to bring it. But
yeah, but we still got down. I had fun with you there. That was a good time.
And I enjoy hanging out with you just in normal everyday life.
Yeah, not always getting...
This podcast makes us seem like degenerates.
It's true. It's true.
We also do comedy together and support our friends. And
hang out, like not like degenerates.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look at us now. We're doing podcasts talking about life and philosophy. I'm curious to hear where you're gonna take this.
Well,
I'm a little scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'll take good care of you, baby.
Okay. I trust you implicitly.
But where I do want to go is, so I have a particular experience where I grew up 3 years on a show that kind of a whole generation saw.
I did.
And yeah, and it was really, I mean, it's still such a major part of my life. And those people who were in it, I'm still so connected to in a particular way. And like, this is like a major part of my growing up. It's a major part of my adolescence and has become a major part of my adulthood. You had an even bigger experience. You started younger, finished later.
Yeah.
10 years?
11.
11 years on Modern Family with a bigger cast too.
Yeah.
So like, I know my experience being such a major part of my life, but I'm curious. I've actually never gotten to talk to you. Like, what was it? You started on that show at what age?
I was 10 when it started and I was 21 when it ended.
That is so much life, dude.
Yeah.
That is so much life.
Yeah.
And it's been over like 3 years now, 4?
Yeah, it's just over 3 years.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
What was that like, man?
Yeah, putting it into a quick summary is hard to do.
Yeah.
And it's something that I actually am like still coming to terms with, just how massive it was and how massive losing something like that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
11 years of your life is hard to sum up, and especially when it involves, for me, I didn't go to public school a day in my life.
Wow.
And so not only was it my day job, it was my passion, it was my schooling, it was my access to friends, it was my family.
Dude.
It was everything. And so moving on from that, like, I think I felt the need to kind of like sweep it under the rug and just be like, whoa, like we knew it was coming. There's the end, on to a new chapter of your life. And unfortunately, pandemic immediately happened. LA was completely shut down. And I was left to become an absolute existential mess alone in my home here in Los Angeles. And I think I like maybe have just come to terms with it ending like last December. So like 4 months ago, did I just make my peace with like, oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah.
That was like everything for over half my life.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ned's for me was so big and has stayed such a major part of my life. And after it ended was like these huge transitions of changing, like for 3 years, yeah, that was my life. And the people on it were my family, my friends. I saw them all the time. And all of a sudden we were all splitting off, and that like kind of, orbit we were in with each other was no longer, and we're all spreading off. But that was just 3 years. I can't imagine 11, dude.
Yeah.
That's a major, major experience.
What I'm starting to like learn is like life keeps going. It keeps moving. And I miss obviously what we had. I still have my Modern Family nightmares where like I'm like running late for work, which I did pretty frequently. I never was. Like, I think it was late for work like twice, but like, man, did I cut it close.
That feeling.
Yeah, that feeling. And then like I'll wake up and be like, I gotta get to work, and then I'll be like, wait a second, that was 3 years ago.
I have nowhere to be.
I'm unemployed. But you know, life keeps moving, and the sadness of losing that doesn't take away from like the joy and the incredible thing that I got to be a part of, and that I still get to be a part of these people's lives just in different ways. And it keeps moving forward. So
that's the truth, man. It goes forward and sometimes comes back around. Like I'm now doing the Ned's Declassified podcast. So it's been such a trip 20 years later to be like, holy shit, this thing, I didn't really see this coming. Yeah. This thing has come back around. So
and obviously you're still, you know, part of your cast members' lives, but just in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
We'll see. Thank you. I feel confident.
The tough transition you're entering that I empathize with you in is now you're entering the really tough transition from child actor to adult actor. Yeah. Which you have a baby face, like I have a baby face. I feel like
I have a baby face when I shave, but then like the sunken eyes of like a 40-year-old like war veteran.
Well, that's just lifestyle, baby.
I drink so much coffee and I don't sleep, and I stay up at night thinking, you know, all the intrusive thoughts, and you can see it in my eyes. So it's an interesting dynamic.
But under that is just the face of a sweet little cherub. And that's just lifestyle. But yeah, you're entering a transition that I hope goes swiftly and gracefully for you, but it might not. Like, I feel like I'm just now getting through the other side of that transition. I feel like I'm just now on sets where I'm not a boy. Yeah. Like, I'm just now one of the men on sets. I'm just now actually being considered for roles that aren't like the guy in college, the guy in high school. And it just took so long, it feels like, to make it through this transition from kid actor to like just actor. And you're entering that now, man, and I hope it just goes quickly and beautifully for you.
Thank you. I think if I could go back in time, like even a year ago, 2 years ago, or when I was younger, and kind of just give myself like a pat on the back, and just like, there are so many things that are at work that are kind of like, when we're in it, it's beyond our understanding of, you know, what is the processes that are going on in like Hollywood. And yes, you might be an incredibly talented actor. You might not get as many opportunities as you want, or, you know, people might see you as this one thing, or all these kind of things that, you know, when I was younger, I always thought there was something like wrong with me. I was like, had the intrinsic, like kind of internal, like, doubts. And, you know, I think this applies to a lot of people and a lot of different things, that almost kind of like that imposter syndrome. And now I've gotten to a place in my life where I found a lot of joy in my process and the art that I make, and removing kind of like the results from it. Because if I'm result focused and goal oriented in this industry specifically, where like you can try as hard as you want on as many different projects as you want, and like never hear anything and be like, oh, it's me. And, you know, I would say for the vast majority of people, it's probably not. It's just there's so much going on that like we can't wrap our brains around.
It's so true, man. It's so true. Like in most things in life, you want to set a goal, set an aim, put effort towards them, and you'll get some type of the way there. And that's a good way to move through life. Yeah, in this art form and / industry, it's so weird you can't be so result oriented or you'll lose your damn mind or feel like you're worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I put in so much effort. I really needed this audition. I didn't even hear back from them.
Yeah.
If they watched it. Am I worthless? Happens all the time.
And the amount of like absurdly talented actors that I know who go through that same mental process.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, it is the way it is. And it's something that at least I think in this industry and also for a lot of artists is just something that you got to keep bumping up against throughout in your life.
Yeah.
And so it's more of the process of like, do you enjoy the journey? Do you enjoy chasing you and the thing that you want in life? Becoming, you know, fighting for your true potential, fighting to be seen, fighting to tell your story. And I at the moment, I'm interested in those things. We'll see. I can't say that it's going to last forever.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy storytelling and art and acting and writing and creating and entertaining. And so,
Do you have interest in writing, directing, behind the scenes stuff?
I do. I think I'm just kind of starting to. I think a lot of people in the industry who are actors are now suddenly feeling the pressure to become like multi-hyphenates, like actors, writers, directors, and it used to not interest me. I don't think I'd ever be interested in directing because you have to deal with actors all day long. I can't stand them.
Talk to me? I got to talk to a bunch of me's?
Oh, man. Yeah,
No.
exactly. And like deal with their fragile egos and tell them how to do their job. But I do love other art forms. And so like visual storytelling is really interesting to me. I love cameras. I love like the job of like a DP, director of photography, camera people. All of that's really interesting me, and writing, same goes for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you didn't go to college?
My relationship with college is weird. So I graduated high school when I was 13.
When you were 13?
When I was 13, yeah. I think I technically I would have just finished high school. I got like a GED.
Yeah.
So I didn't go through like all of 11th and 12th grade.
Okay.
I took the out. And
you can work longer hours at that point.
Exactly. Yep. You know it.
Yep.
And then I did online community college for 2 years. And then I got accepted to USC Film School about 4 years ago. And oh no, was it 6?
There's those 2-year pandemic gap. Yep.
I'm so old. And I was going to go to that. And then I decided not to kind of pursue my interests in a non-school oriented way. And I know for some people that really works. For some people it doesn't. And I think, you know, for me and specifically like having already a foothold in the film industry, a lot of people want to go to film school to even get a foot in the door, get connections.
Yeah.
Hold a camera for the first time in their lives or however it is. And I kind of had access to all of that. So right now I don't know, am I still young? 24? I guess
You're still young,
still have
my boy.
a potential to go to college and think about it. But I was really interested in trying and just failing. I'm in the process of making some of the worst projects will probably ever be seen. But I think it's worth it to fight the perfectionist nature that we all have and just make some stuff. And
I think that's where film school is good.
Yes.
Is like it's the chance just to like make stuff that
you
that is only
deadlines.
Consequential to your school. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make it.
You have deadlines and you're forced to.
Right.
And so you can't.
So you can work out some of the kinks for a few years.
Yeah, you can't be like your first project. You can't be like holding on to your magnum opus. You know.
Right. Right. because you got a deadline and you got to do it
You
anyways.
just gotta
And you're like,
get it out and
fuck it.
start and like be bad.
Yeah, so I totally get you because I didn't go to college because I was working in the industry. It's like, I'm doing what I want to do. Why would I go to college? In hindsight, I would have liked to go, and we've all heard from all the directors who are like, you don't need to go to film school, just start directing, just start making stuff. I love that mentality. However, in hindsight, I'm like, I would have really enjoyed film school.
Yeah.
Like, I love breaking down films. I love making shit. I love discussing films with other people who like love it and get it. I love story. Like, I actually do have just a passion for it. And I realized in hindsight, like, oh, I actually really would have enjoyed film school and like learning the technical aspect of some of cinema.
You are a pretentious art snob. You would have done well.
Exactly.
The way that you just took that. You just went, yeah.
Yeah. I'll take that. Okay. I'm not gonna be defensive about that.
It's not too late. Maybe me and you apply this upcoming spring semester.
Let's go. I'll be the old man and you'll be like the slightly old man.
We'll just get invited to parties.
You gotta grow that beard out and really
you know?
become that fucking crab fisherman, dude.
It's my dream.
But yeah, I like would have liked to have gone, but I kind of was in the same headspace as you of like, I'm just doing it already. Although at that time I wasn't going out and making stuff. So as long as you're doing that, tight, because that's kind of half of the battle. I made my first short film last year. Like, I've made stuff over the years, but I made my first like proper short film last year.
Yeah.
And I learned so much in the process of making that. Like,
It's insane. Yeah.
so insane, leaps and bounds in the actual process of making something and seeing it through to the end, rather than just like kind of coming up with stories or thinking about making something or whatever, or working on someone else's project. Nah. Coming up with a vision, seeing it through all the way to the end, directing, producing, all the shit. Like, I learned so much. So I think as long as you're starting that process, you're gonna kind of like go through all those steps of failure to learn.
It's very difficult to get started on that path. Mainly for like lack of knowledge. I've been acting for 19 years now.
Yep.
And started writing and have no idea how to get the actual things that I've written and ideas made. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. I have this interesting thing that my mind has created. Now, how do I get it from existing in here to a format where other people can consume it and view it? And I'm really lucky that I've been getting to work with some great mentors, both people that I found pitching my projects or even just friends who are like, I told them this idea and they're like, hey, that's like right up my alley. These are things that I'm interested in. These are the questions of life that I've been asking. And then working with people who are a little more experienced and being like, okay, like, we can, if you actually want to do this.
What are the steps?
Here are the steps. Yeah. Like, they're like, do you know how to make a storyboard? And I'm like, what's that? I'm a dumb actor. I show up and I stand on the mark and
they give me words to say, and I eat free food and I say them.
Exactly. Sometimes I eat the food in the take. I'm really good at, if you watch Modern Family, I'm a fantastic cereal eater.
I've noticed. Yeah, Luke's eating a lot.
I eat cereal for like 234 episodes. It's not an easy thing to do.
Did you grow up in LA?
I did. Yeah. My dad's ex-military. I moved kind of around the country before ending up in LA since I was 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was that? Where was your favorite place before LA?
I'm gonna go with. I mean, I got to grow up in a place called Phoenix City, Alabama, and I liked growing up there because I got to have this almost like idyllic childhood before the absolute smog-induced drudgery of life in Los Angeles.
Yes, with 99% sunny days and beautiful dry heat.
This is
so awful.
Well, you know what? I do love that everyone just has different takes on things because there are obviously people who are here and they're like, oh, like beautiful sunshine and blah blah. And like I live my life like I'm in a like I'm the voiceover guy in a noir film where I'm like, Los Angeles, this city makes me sick. It's like genuinely how I view
All
this.
the blinds are closed.
Yeah, totally. Like peek it open. and I'm
Burbank,
like,
California.
Burbank, California. The worst of the worst. Sandwiched between freeways. We are the rotting core at the heart of this broken city. Like that's how I view it.
Okay.
But I did get to have a childhood where I was like, I got to run around barefoot, which I would never do here.
No, you'll
but
step on glass or human excrement.
or needles or like all kinds. It's a lot, but I got to like play in the forest and like had a stream running through my neighborhood. Like genuinely like shoot fireworks at ourselves, you know. We were like little like rascals, and I'm glad I got to have that. So I would say that.
Nice.
Yeah. Worked real hard on getting rid of my southern accent when I moved out here though.
Really?
Yep.
You were proper like I'm Nolan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was.
Hi, I'm Nolan from Alabama.
I was a little redneck dude. I like had overalls. I don't know if that's the buy-in for being a redneck, but like
I think it is.
I got like, you know, like we would like ATV. I got like ran over by an ATV. And I'm like, I was like a little like, I think I carried around a gun when I was a kid.
Whoa.
Yeah, like actually, I think I remember.
Whoa.
having a gun. like actually,
The South, brother.
The South is different.
I mean, I'm from the South, but I never
you
had a
from?
gun. I'm from Georgia.
okay, wait, where?
Outside Atlanta, suburbs of Atlanta, Fulton County, Alpharetta,
You know
Johns
where?
Creek.
You know where Fort Benning is?
I do.
That's I was like 30 minutes from Fort Benning because that's where my dad was stationed.
The first movie I ever booked in Georgia that actually led to me coming to Los Angeles was a Mel Gibson war film called We Were Soldiers,
Yeah.
filmed at Fort Benning
Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay.
with Luke Benward. You know Luke Benward?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Luke and I met on that.
awesome.
We played Mel Gibson's kids in this like Vietnam War movie, but we're like a small part of the movie, but massive experience, dude.
Yeah.
We filmed at Fort Benning. It was nuts.
I bet.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm trying real hard not to make jokes right now. There's some obvious jokes going there that I'm just gonna just. I've no further questions. You worked with Mel Gibson. Hey. Cool. Good for you, man. Moving on.
Yeah, look, there's a
Feel
lot.
free to cut that.
I will say it was many years ago. He was lovely to everyone on set. He sang me happy birthday on my 10th birthday, and I'll never forget it.
Cool.
And we're just going to leave it at that, Nolan.
on.
We're just going to leave it right there, bud.
I'll dig myself out of this hole. Do you have any next questions?
But yeah, so I grew up like in the suburbs outside Atlanta, but I did have that idyllic childhood that you were talking about as well, like streams through our neighborhood, just leaving my front door and just like running around outside all the time, and kind of parents not knowing where we were, and it didn't matter because we were actually safe. Like there was no danger around, not really, except the stupid shit we were going to get ourselves into. And it was beautiful. I got to have that even through NEDS, man. Like I would shoot a semester of NEDS. I'd shoot 6 months of NEDS, and then I'd go back to Georgia and go back to where I'm from and go to public middle school for 6 months. Yeah. So I had like the best of both worlds for a long time. It's like I'd come live this crazy, fun dream life, pursue my passions, ended up on a show that was like family. Like really, we had like family. Like it was great creators, great actors. We were all friends. And then I'd go back to Georgia and just remember what like normal life was with all my friends I grew up with, play outside.
I think it's so important to have that. You know, I have people reach out to me and say they're thinking about getting into the industry, or even I think like one of my neighbors stopped me the other day, and their young son had just got cast in a project, and they were like, "Hey, how do we make sure they don't go down the path that we've seen so many people go down?" And my recommendation for everybody, and I think this can apply to a lot of different things in life, is just to diversify and have as many facets to you as possible. Yes, I'm an actor and a storyteller, but like it's not everything. And I know that like I've worked really hard to establish a community, and I know that if I were to ever quit or it doesn't work, like there's so much more in life and so many things that excite me. And like for you growing up, like to have a place to go back to get out of the rotten core of Los Angeles, and to get to like dabble in like the fun that we truly get to enjoy in this industry, but then like be aware that's not like my entire self-worth and value is not tied into whether or not I'm working in an industry that is completely out of my control, because it's going to drive you crazy.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And as a kid, like your identity is constantly forming and it's fragile and your self-worth is tied in and you're learning how to be a person, but you're also like mimicking things. It's a weird thing. When people ask me for like advice for like kids getting into the industry, honestly, even though I had a pretty great version of it, I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Wait till you're 18. And even then, live life. And I think what you just said is great, is like it can't be everything. On one hand, I think to get good, you kind of should become obsessed with it in a good way, like become obsessed with the work of it, the history of it, like learn the craft, learn what your opinions are about it, like get into it. That's a beautiful thing. That's like loving it, right?
Sure, yeah.
But it cannot be everything because it's so far outside of your control. And that goes for like a lot of things in life, is like, it's the notion of like being decentralized or anti-fragile. Like your entire worth can't be based on this one pursuit or this one relationship, which a lot of people do.
Sure.
Like you want to have your self-worth like grounded in a couple different things and your interests in a couple different things.
Yeah, you almost like need generalized self-worth.
Yeah.
Like you need to have like so many, like, I guess I don't want like roots going out in different directions that like when one of them kind of fails, you have all these other things like. And one of the other things I recommend for people who are considering, because I get people like messaging me on Instagram,
I'm
like,
sure.
hey, like I'm thinking about moving out from Minnesota to pursue this. And again, I always want to like stifle. Don't.
You're gonna be so sad.
No, you're gonna be my competitor. No, no. I gotta sabotage the next generation. No, definitely not. No, that is a joke. Oh no, but I would say it's, I, as somebody who, when I got into this, had no clue what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I was 5 or 6. I was from
Alabama.
middle of nowhere, Alabama. My dad got transferred out here.
You had to give up your gun.
I had to give up my gun. It's actually legally to even get your actor card. You have to, and I was just strapped up. So I'm like, I had at least 6 on me. I had to pull the Beretta out of my my boot. I had the Tech 9s on my back.
Alabama be crazy, bro.
But where was I going with that?
You didn't know what you were getting into.
I didn't know what I was getting into, and it was like I think halfway through the show where I was like, holy shit, like, whoa, like time is flying. Like this was just like a thing that kept happening to me.
Right.
Where I was like a kid, my mom, I got an audition, like mom, drive me to it. We booked it. Okay, let's shoot the pilot. Oh, whoa. 7 years and 150 episodes just went by like that.
Yeah.
And like, do I want to do this? And it took me like really thinking about it and like falling in love with kind of the process, as opposed to like this thing that had just happened to me, and like really taking ownership over that. And so anyways, I think all that's to say, like, we have everyone typically has such a glamorous view of it. And for me, I fell in love not with like, I fell out of love with the things like being recognizable or making money or getting free food on set, or like all of these, that was a joke, but like all of these things that like, I've made it. I get to walk a red carpet. I get to wear like nice clothes. And like re-fell in love with the actual art and craft of it. And I'd prefer if I can go, the rest of my career, not like focused on money, but focused on making things I care about and performances I care about. And so I always tell people who are thinking about it, like, make sure that it's just like, this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, have you performed?
Yeah.
Has it been bad?
Yeah.
Have you failed? Did you embarrass yourself in your middle school play? Did your car break down on your way to an audition? And like, do you still want to do it? As opposed to, it's almost kind of like a La La Land view of it.
Yeah.
And just more like, are you sure that you like the actual core act of doing it as opposed to all the nice little bells and whistles that come with it?
Yep. All that stuff's like easy to see and of course is enticing, and you go like, that will fill the void in my heart. Mm-hmm. That will fill.
And not just with the industry, like with like most things in life.
Yeah. You see that big shiny something and you go, oh yeah, that will fill this emptiness inside me.
Yeah.
And it won't. It won't. Nothing will.
Look into this man's eyes. You can see it. No, I think it's
nothing will.
Since the show has ended, I've been like refocusing on like what my core values are, and like with things in my life that I'm adding like into it. I'm like, am I doing this because other people told me this was a thing I'm supposed to do, or is this actually like something like my convictions I hold like deeply to? Yeah, I've had to like. Turns out I don't have any. So turns out I'm just a sellout.
DM Nolan now if you want him to be in anything.
I'll support any product out there. I'll subjugate the rest of humanity to advertisements. Buy all the things. Mainly, what you need to realize is you're a consumer, and you're consuming other people's products so they can live the life they want.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had to like it's over the last X amount of years. It's like been multiple cycles of just kind of reinstating my own values and convictions within acting, within filmmaking, within the industry, within any of my art.
If you don't mind me asking, what are some of yours?
Well, it's just been like I do have strong opinions actually on what I think is good and what I think is bad. And for a long time I didn't, but I think actually to become I don't need other people to agree with my opinions on art, but to become your own artist, I think you do need to develop opinions. You can't be opinionless.
Yeah.
You can't be tasteless. You have to know, what do you think is good? What do you think is bad? What do you think doesn't work? So developing that, and just sort of what you talked about is like falling in love with the actual process of it. I do have convictions when it comes to like the work that I put into a script. And when I watch people that I know aren't, when I watch people that I know are just kind of like flinging shit at the wall.
Yeah.
And finding success, cool. And some people are great at it, cool. And certain projects you don't have to go that deep on. You can just kind of like be in the timing and be in the words of it. But man, there is a craft. This isn't a random industry. Like there is an art form. There is a way to work through material. There's a lot of different ways, but like there's telling story and there's not. Like, there's like working on a scene and there's not. There's having a want in a scene. There's knowing the overall picture of a story and how it's like moving between each scene. And there's just kind of like being in it.
I think I really like what you had to say about opinions, because I think like so much of my life I worked on not being seen.
I feel that.
About being pretty like general.
Yep.
Where
Same.
I was like, I can appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think what we really like as a species is not what appeals to everybody, but what appeals specifically. I think it's how to kind of avoid what sometimes feels like the algorithmically generated hellscape that is modern cinema, where I'm like, this was written by a computer and I can tell it, or was written by people who read the market research on what people are looking for. And it takes a lot of, I would like to say, courage. I'm not saying I'm courageous, but I know there's a lot of filmmakers and actors that are out there who are like doing things their way, allowing themselves to be seen, putting their own opinions. And because I think that like when you watch a movie, even if it doesn't align completely with what you believe and agree with, you as a storyteller are inviting other people into your worldview.
Yeah.
You're like, this is how I feel about these things, and I'm going to make my case for why I think the world should be this way, or here is like my central argument. And it, I think it's incredible when I get to go and like watch somebody's art and I'm like, that's not what I think, but I'm really glad somebody thinks that way.
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad I got to like know more about what that director thinks about this or what that actor thinks about this.
Yeah.
And like really like, even though we for the most part are doing other people's art, like we can find our own ways to be seen.
For sure.
Yeah.
Man, I spent so much of my life just being generally likable to everybody.
Yeah. And now you're specifically unlikable. At least to me.
Yeah. But
Man, if you could just be more generally likable.
But yeah, and it feels good. Like I had to learn it's okay to be a fucking asshole sometimes because for so much of my life I was unwilling to be. Like I wanted to make no enemies.
I want to undo what you said. I don't think it's an asshole. I don't recommend anybody be an asshole, but
fuck you, Nolan.
somebody that's just true to themselves,
yes.
which like other people can view as being an asshole.
Yes.
Yes. I know sometimes I do, but as long as like what you're doing is actually truthful to like
yes.
who you are, it's also then really hard to hate somebody for being themselves and for standing for something.
I'm glad you made that distinction.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yes.
I learned how to actually take care of my truth. I learned how to actually be in my point of view.
Yeah.
I spent so much of my life listening or being willing to hear or empathize with everyone else's story that I didn't know who I was because I wasn't actually taking the time or awareness to just pay attention to what do I want? What do I believe here? I was too busy like, well, I get what they're saying and going through and I get what they're doing and I get what this movie's trying to do, but I didn't have like my own opinion because I just never took the time to fucking develop it.
Yeah. Well, so me and my therapist have been working on this, is that you spend, as a child actor, and I don't know if anybody will be able to appeal to this, but I think there's just kind of makes sense to a lot of people is like, especially as a kid, you have to be super attuned to how like adults are feeling.
Yeah.
Especially as a kid on a set where there's things like millions of dollars at stake and hundreds of people's jobs. You learn to just kind of like stuff it to get through a day. Yeah. You're just like, okay, egos are running a little hot today. This person I should probably stay away from. That was an awkward interaction. And you learn to kind of like untune from how you feel and like super hyper attuned to how like the world around you works and how you can kind of just like fit in and not make a splash. And I think there is a power in kind of reclaiming that. And that's why I said I've been figuring out my convictions of being like, who am I? What do I actually want in this moment? And it's okay to not vibe with people. Not go with the flow, to be like, this is what I stand for. And I thought there was such a fear of the rejection or the friction that would cause, but it's actually been opening up my life a lot. Now I'm starting to get to become the person that I am, which is, one, it doesn't drain as much energy trying to be somebody else. Two, it attracts the people to me that like align with me, and gets to like cut out the people and problems in my life that are weighing me down by just like having the ability to be seen and tell somebody how I feel. And even things as simple as like, that hurt my feelings. Yeah. But like,
it's hard to do, man.
It is really hard to do. And it's scary to do, especially as somebody who like from a young age learned to like just not check in and not do those things and be yourself.
You got a good therapist. How long you been in therapy?
1 month. and that is true. So I can't sit here and BS you like I'm some kind of expert.
No, that's fantastic though, man.
But it was a long road to even like beginning the process of opening up these doors. And even if it was just like my therapist was like, why are you coming here? And I was like, I just want an hour where like I have to be honest and be seen. And because I feel like I can be 95% honest with my friend and like 50% honest with like my mom, and I just like want like 100% honesty. I'm paying you and you can't tell me how that makes you feel, like, you know, what I do. And it's been
Dude,
great.
that's so awesome. I'm so glad you're in there. It took me until like 27, I think, to go to therapy for the first time.
Yeah.
When like I really needed it. And now I go in and out of being in therapy just when I can't square things myself, when I have a lot of tools actually, and like that I've developed over the years of like moving myself through things, but there are times where I can't, and then I go through some sessions with my therapist, and it's what you said, man. It's so good to, for an hour, just talk to somebody about, like, I'm pretty honest with my friends, but it's like that 10% of shit that I'm not telling anybody.
Yeah.
And just have a space. Also, I love that it's like a neutral professional party. Like, it's not someone who has any investment
never gonna see you
or
in
stake.
public. Yeah,
and has no investment in their life, me being some type of way.
Sure.
You know, like everyone in your life has a stake in you. They want you to be good for their own reasons too.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, I had such a misconception about what therapy is.
Yeah,
and it would
a
just
lot
be
of
like,
us do.
Imagine taking the conversations that you have in your own head that keep you up at night, and then being able to tell a person that's 6 feet away from you with a notepad, this, and then they like become a mirror that reflects you back at you, and can be like, hey, I just want to point out you've done this before, or you have these conversations with yourself a lot.
That's so it. We all do this. We all have these things that we like spin on for a while in our own head. Yeah. And that's it. Therapy is the place you can go, like, here's this shit that I've just been tying myself in knots around because I can't get it out of me.
It's weird when you give a voice to it, how it suddenly takes power away from stuff as well.
Yes.
Or rather sometimes gives it power. It just kind of like, it makes it real. And like, okay, now at least one other person knows that me, Nolan Gould, is this way. And whether I choose to act on it or do anything about it, at least somebody like perceives me. And now I can let it go. Now I can be asleep at night.
This is great.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't sleep at night. You can, again, see by my eyes. But I'm getting there.
I got a meditation teacher I got to turn you on to.
Yes.
It helps with sleeping.
Man, I'm so new age in LA, but there's like, there is something to it, and
meditation's old age, baby.
Oh, good point.
It's been around for 5,000 years, you know.
I think our two generations, I might like say we're both kind of like cusp.
Yeah.
I'm like a little bit old for Gen Z.
Yeah.
But it feels like I'm very grateful that like we get the tools for learning about ourselves in the world that like a lot of people from previous generations didn't. And like, you can make fun of us for doing sound baths or drinking green juice, but like I do feel like a lot of us are learning how to cope, like self-cope, self-talk, self-care, all these things that a lot of people don't have access to. And it like, if you don't do it, it is actually, it feels goofy at first, but it helps so much.
Oh my God, it does, dude. Just go to a fucking sound bath. Like, it's great, man. Just go fucking.
Let them like, just give yourself an hour.
Let someone
them play
fucking
the chimes
bang a
for
gong
you.
over your forehead for like 30 minutes. You're just gonna come out feeling some type of wonderful.
Yeah, but and it is this ancient wisdom where it's like, you know, a lot of things promise to give us enlightenment. Or, you know, advertisements tell you buy this product to make your life better. Or movies tell us that if you find your one true love, like you're all set. And there's like this kind of wisdom that goes back thousands of years to when we were kind of living truer lives that were more connected and stuff. And like using those methods and seeking out truth and things like that instead of just I don't know, passing and joy. I've been thinking that's another thing me and my therapist talk about a lot is just trying to find a truth in like a world that feels like increasingly like untruthful. Yeah. And so I don't know, I kind of just went on a rant there, but
no, man, it's it. That's I mean, that is the path. That is the path we're all on as we grow and mature. And oh man, the road to truth can be full of lies. There's just a lot of like places where it can go into an unhealthy space, or people that are selling you on this is the truth that will heal you, when really it's just like, how can I get in touch? What are the tools to get in touch with my ever-changing truth? What are the tools to bring me back to the present moment and what my ever-changing truth is? How do I touch these places? And I do think you're right, man. Our generations are way more, we've normalized talking about these things. We've normalized discussing your emotions, analyzing your life, zooming out, like trying to get in touch with these deeper parts of ourselves. Whereas like, man, my parents' generation, like therapy was for crazy people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like discussing anything was, it wasn't normalized. They weren't given the tools for it. Like my parents were married 31 years and never really discussed the shit going on under their relationship. Never really had those really tough but necessary talks. And ultimately that led to them imploding and getting divorced. Like they never, but their generation, like they didn't have the tools, man. They didn't, like I said, like therapy was for oh no, that's for like those people. You know?
Yeah, those are for people like problems.
Yeah, and now, dude, now my mom like meditates and she goes to like sound baths and like,
that's awesome.
and she's like, this shit is awesome, Dev.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know. She's like, I'm getting in touch with myself. I'm like, yeah, baby.
I think one of the best things that we can do in life, because I'm deeply existential, and so I purposely took this podcast there because like I was like, I want to drive it there because like I just find it so
Me too, my guy.
so interesting. Is like I've done so many podcasts, and like sometimes you just want to like spout off. Like I always want to to get on and be like, why are we doing this?
Why are we alive?
Why are we alive? Like, yeah, let's talk.
They're like, so how's Sofia Vergara?
Yeah, must have been hard growing up next to her.
Huh?
She was so hot, and I just want to be like,
am I alive?
and I just want to be like,
what's the soul?
Why? Just why to all of this? Gosh, where was I going with that? Let's see. I have to retrace my thought because that made me laugh.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah,
no, because now you're thinking about.
Yeah, well, no, I think one of the. I think this is where I was going with this. I think one of the best things that you can do in life. This is at least what I'm trying to do. Post. What one could argue was just a very intense childhood. I'm very lucky. I will say that like some child actors have had it so hard. I always had people around me who had my best interests at heart. I knew if things ever got really bad, like my parents would pull me out of it.
Yeah.
And I knew that there were people on set looking out for me. It's still a really weird place for a child to grow up.
Yeah.
You don't really make it through childhood and adolescence unscathed.
No one
and
does.
I think the best thing you can do post that is just like work on learning yourself.
Yeah.
And so like at least for the foreseeable future, like this whole next year, my plan is just to know myself. And it's not like making any like rash decisions on who I am or what I stand for. I think most people have a innate kind of understand like the moral compass, and like we are kind of like born a certain way, and we are all incredibly different, and what makes us really, really cool. I'm so excited by the differences between all of us. And then like just tapping into like, okay, wait, this is who I am. And now how do I just continue to be me? And so that's my whole goal for next year is just to be me after a childhood of not being me.
Yeah.
Man,
I
love
love
trying to figure
that.
out what that is.
I love that. I'm sure other people can relate, even though on the child actor side of thing, it's a really particular version of not being in touch with yourself because you're in a world of adults. So you're just learning how to be the best version for them. You're learning how to be the best thing for them.
The equivalent would be like if you at like 10 years old got like a job as like I don't know, working in an office, and you put on your like little tiny kid suit and your like little kid briefcase and like just like went into a set and then went into your office and then spent all day working around adults.
Yes.
And then just had to like become one of them.
And you're like, look, I'm an adult too.
Yeah.
Beep boop, beep boop. Can I get some coffee, Bob? Beep, boop, beep.
Yeah. Oh, what, did you see the game last night? Long day at the office. Can't wait for Friday.
Exactly.
What? This isn't right.
But I think in some capacity, all of us go through this in adolescence. That is the struggle of adolescence, is you're kind of looking around. A lot of us are looking around just trying to fit into some type of space. In normal childhood, you're at least doing it with other kids. We're doing it with adults. But I think it is a really important part of your 20s and life moving forward is actually pausing, like being outward facing to learn who you are, like just trying to fit in and make sure you're not ruffling feathers and how do I fit in? Like you're just conditioning yourself to some other idea. You're not actually tapping into who you are. So I think it's really dope that you've started therapy.
Yeah.
And that you have this goal for a year of just tuning into yourself more. I feel like, I don't know, man, like my mom, for example, like I just brought up, like I feel like she said after my parents got divorced, she was like home one weekend and she was like, I think this is the first weekend I've stayed home by myself my entire life. Like,
oh my God.
She really had this major like awakening through this divorce of just like, I don't think I've taken time with me, like to know me, to get to know myself, my values, who am I? Even though she always was inherently like authentic and powerful and amazing, but not ever taking that time herself. And
that's so,
isn't that
I'm glad for her. And
oh man, it was beautiful to hear because it was such a painful thing, still is, but hearing that, I'm like, you know what? That's fucking invaluable, Mom. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because we need that. And I do think our generations are doing that sooner and sooner. So any listeners out there, if you have not spent any time asking yourself, who am I? What do I want?
Not non-judgmentally too.
Yeah.
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 Something that I'm learning.
If you're a nerd, you're a nerd, man.
Yeah, if you're a nerd, you're a nerd. And then also like within self-reflection, learning not to have the gaze of an other looking at you. So that was like, as one thing my therapist told me is as you start to look at who you are and what you stand for, be honest about that, even if sometimes it's painful. And so don't just say like
the answer you're supposed to say.
Yeah, what like looks good on page, but what you
actually... Well, I really care about people. I'm super selfless.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
love dogs.
Yeah, just like be honest and
good and bad.
Yeah, and you can have things you want to work on. You could be like, hey, this is truthful about me. I don't love it, but like this is something that's truthful.
And it's ongoing, man. There is no finish line. You're never like there, but it's good to have a practice and different tools of just being in the space of yourself, of getting to know yourself, of coming back to yourself, of being in your own values, your own wants.
Yeah. And then like watching the world around you change and react when you're like, you know what? I never actually wanted to do this job, or I never actually wanted to live in this city, or things like that. I mean, that wasn't
bro.
That's you guys get like. But I'm also I am an intense person, and I'm in the process of completely changing. I'm like removing myself from my current life right now. I'm moving out of the house I've lived for the past 7 years. Yep.
You're moving?
I'm moving, and I'm in the process of getting rid of almost everything I own.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and you
have a lot of things.
I have a lot of things.
If you want to give me your Wurlitzer, let me know.
There's a chance it might be looking for at least a lease,
a temporary home.
Home.
I'll foster that
of somebody
Wurlitzer.
who would
Loves
take care of it. But it's like my mom's like, well, what are you doing? Are you going through like a mental breakdown where you're just giving away all your stuff? And at least for me, this is a very specific me chasing me moment.
Yeah.
Whereas like I know a lot of people out there probably won't connect with this. But it's like from a young age, I had access to money and then people telling me what I should do with that money, such as buy a house, fill it with things. And I'm lucky I'm not ungrateful for all of that. And it served me for many years. And then there was a point where I was like, I'm young. I actually don't, I got all of this because somebody told me that this is what I was supposed to do. And now I'm realizing I don't want to live in a house like a family home and fill it with things and like almost like I'm working towards being like an adult with like a white picket fence and all these things. And so I'm giving up like most of it to go, and I'm lucky to do that, to go like chase kind of myself and see like, what do I look like working a wine farm somewhere for a month?
Awesome, man.
Or like
Awesome.
picking up a bartending job in another city.
Awesome,
or
man.
I'm like doing this like beatnik style, like,
Dude, I love this. I love this for
yeah.
you. I support it 1,000%.
it's really scary, but it's just like I'm trying to become like fully me, and because like I want like a little bit of everything. It's hard to explain, but it's like I don't want to be like a consumer and be like, all right, cool, I live in a home, I buy things, I shop at the grocery store, blah blah blah. I'm like, I just want like, what if I like, you know, like live in a train car for a bit? I'm probably not gonna do. I'm like, you know, like what if like without a plan or like a place to rest my head? Who am I?
The idealized beatnik version, but
Yeah.
I love this and I support it because the path to ourselves, like you have to try many different things, and man, turns out the like American consumer dream, you for sure
Doesn't work for me. Yeah.
You for sure have it, and many people have, and it doesn't necessarily lead you to yourself and to peace, which is what all of us are after, and to feeling connected to your life.
Yeah.
Sometimes all the things in the house actually isolate you. It actually creates fucking space.
Yeah, it's like
from bumping up against
here's
life.
my castle that I live in, my
Yes.
fortress of solitude. I filled
My
it
fortress
with all
of comfort.
Yeah, I filled it with all the things.
Yeah.
And then
But you don't feel connected to it anymore.
I don't, and it removes you from your community in a way. And the things that I keep coming back, I like wrote down a list of things that I'm really interested in moving forward. And I love community, connection, art, storytelling, comedy, all these things. And for me, I was like looking at this house and I was like, I'm lucky to have it, but it's just the American dream of like, I was supposed to buy a house and fill it with kids. And I was like, that's just not me.
Yeah, and especially not right now.
No, not when I'm 24. But
yeah, dude.
You know,
like,
but that's again why it's one of those reasons why it's good to check in on yourself, because I think so many people have been like fed this ideal of like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And for some people it is. And I got to do it at a young age and then realized like, oh, it's not for me. And so it's important to like early on check in and be like, what
is me? Yeah.
What do I really want?
Man, I love that. Have you listened to McConaughey's book at all? Greenlight?
No.
Greenlight.
All
So,
right.
so I
gotta listen
I
to my
started to
book.
read it and I got disinterested, and then really what you got to do is the audiobook.
Okay, cool.
Because it's him.
Does he read it?
Yes.
Oh, right
so
on.
that changed the game.
Great.
It was actually while I was in Europe. My buddy Yordi was playing from like while we were on the trains and shit. We'd like listen to the audiobook and just laugh because it's McConaughey like telling these great fucking stories, and it's him
being
and he's-
himself.
and he's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Green light.
Does he say that a lot?
He does.
Okay, cool.
He does. He says green light. But this story that stuck with me, and it's like many stories, but it's like this phase of his life when he first hit major fame, which was in his 20s. He started to feel some type of untethered from himself. And what he did was he moved into an RV and with his dog just traveled the country in an RV, had 2 PO boxes that he could check in with. He would take like meetings, like he was majorly famous at the time, and would take meetings with directors like on the road. They'd like fly. There's stories of like directors flying in and meeting him and driving with him from like this city to this city so that they could meet with him. Granted, he was at a level where he could do that, but I love this. Like this lets me know what was important to him. He was searching for the thing you're searching for.
Yeah.
Yourself. And to get to yourself, you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You have to bump up against life. You have to go try things. You have to go get into the world, and you got to like touch it and connect with it and be with it. So, so when you find yourself on that train, listen to McConaughey.
All right. Maybe you'll revisit this in a year. I'll be like, guys, I found me. He was within me the whole time. I am the treasure I was seeking. I don't know.
It's what it ends up being, but the journey is how you get there. So I love it. Nolan, man, so great diving in with you and talking about existential things.
Thanks for delving my mind with me.
Yeah.
It's a scary place.
No, it's fun, man. You think I got some years on you, boy. You think I don't know these places?
Yeah, I can't wait to go off camera.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna delve into yours.
Exactly. We're going out this weekend, though.
Yes, let's do it.
Sorry to your therapist, but you're coming out with me this weekend.
He'll understand. I'll send him this podcast.
I do want to ask if you have one tip for a listener at home who feels like they don't know themselves but want to, what would you say? Oh, hold on. The army is flying over us.
Yeah, that's because I'm about to give the secret of life and they don't want it out. Like calling the drone strike. He's about to bust the whole system.
Tell them to be consumers. Tell them to be consume all the things.
We're getting the pause. Okay, cool.
It's so deep. It has to be picking it up.
I can definitely hear it. I'll try to.
It's
Sweet.
fine.
Well,
We
you
can
can
leave it
also
in.
just cue me again with the question or something.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll cut it.
Do you want me to ask the question again, or we could leave it? I don't care.
Sure.
Hey, in case we edit around that, or if we keep it because it's weird and funny, hey, Nolan, do you have one tip for a listener maybe who's out there who's like, they're in their early 20s like you and they're going, or maybe not, maybe they're any age and they're going, man, I don't know myself. I'm disconnected from myself and I would like to start that path.
Okay, this is so this is only gonna like apply to people who have this same problem. But for me, when I was like not knowing myself and knowing how to react in certain situations, or how I felt about, like, let's say the way people were treating me or what was going on in my friend group, I started, the first place I did, and I still struggle to do it, is to check in with my body. Because like our body has this really genius kind of brain that works without us being aware, like our sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous system that reacts before our brain can kind of process information. And so I learned to start being like, hey, okay, I'm up late night thinking about, let's say, this thing that my girlfriend said to me. And I was like, and my stomach is churning and I can't sleep and my heart is racing. Like, what's going on? And I, like, through that was able to like realize, like, oh, wait a second, I think I have anxiety because of like something that she said to me, or like, I think I'm upset about this. And so that's how like far removed I was from knowing myself. And I started to like kind of check back in with like in certain moments where I was like, wait a second, like my heart's beating really fast, or like I'm sweating, or like I've got a feeling in my gut that I shouldn't trust this person. And like we always like hear that, like, oh, I got that gut feeling, or like, I don't know, like they give me like the ick. Things like that is what we're saying is like my body is giving me warning signs or telling me how to react. And like you learn to shut off your instincts about people because people are like, nah, like they're fine. And I would say like checking in with your body is a really good habit and a really good process for like learning how to like know yourself. Is like your body sometimes knows you better and what you should do than like your brain,
your awareness.
Than your ego and your super ego. So like check in, don't be afraid to check in with your body and like listen to it and drink that water. And get some sleep.
I love that so much. I'm going to tack on real quick before we end. Hey, listener, viewer out there, if when you leave a person in your life and consistently when you leave, you check in with yourself and you're fucking exhausted and feel drained, maybe revisit that relationship and how important it actually is to you. And maybe you need to either draw boundaries in that relationship to make that feeling go away, or maybe you just need to get the fuck out of there. This is something we all do throughout life, and man, it takes a while to learn. And just actually check in. Am I exhausted every time I talk to this person? Am I drained every time I leave this person's house? Do I feel like spun out and like I can't think every time I leave this person? Hey, maybe that's not a great friend. Maybe that's an energy vampire.
Well, hey, I just checked in with myself. And this podcast, man, I've got nothing left to give. You've sucked it all out of me. So goodbye.
Well, that's it. Thanks for coming, Nolan. Bye.
Bye. That's funny.
Perfect finish.
Thanks for listening to that Onomy podcast. Onomy is like Ned's Declassified for adulthood. Visit onomy.co for free lessons on personal finance, career readiness, personal development, and more, all taught by expert influencers and creators. We've got everything you wish you learned in school so you can thrive in adulthood. That's onomy.co. See you there.